everyone, it's Karen with Yes Please Paper Crafts, and this video is part of the Let's Get Organized YouTube Hop for Paper Crafters, where each month we share our tips and ideas on how to store and organize different items in our craft rooms. So y'all be sure and go check out everyone else that is participating in this month's hop, and I'll have links to their videos in the description below. Okay, so for this video, I wanted to share with you a little bit of my process on how I'm going to reorganize my stamps. And this project started because for the past 2 years since I moved into my new house, I have not been able to find my stamps when I've wanted to use them. And that's partly because when I moved, I put everything into boxes, and then when I got to my new house, I unpacked everything, but it just all got put back into bins in no particular order. So I used to have my stamps organized by the manufacturer and then by the name of the stamp set. And that worked really well for me at the time because I was using my stamps a lot. I knew what I had. It was really easy for me to just go to the manufacturer and find the stamp set that I wanted to use. But because I haven't been using my stamps over the past 2 years, I've kind of forgotten what what I actually have in my craft room. And so I haven't really been using it, partly because I don't know what I have, and also because I don't know where it is. So one of the first things I decided was that I didn't want to store my stamp set by manufacturer. And that's going to introduce a problem because right now I have all of my stamps stored by manufacturer. And so I have a lot of close to my heart stamps and Stampin' Up! Stamps. And they are stored in a different way than all the other stamps that I have in my craft room. And then the other stamps that I have those stored in 2 different ways as well. So let's just talk a little bit about the different ways that I store my stamps currently, and then we'll talk a little bit about how I'm planning to store them going forward. Okay, so right now I am using these pockets. This is a DVD sleeve. It's a very inexpensive plastic pocket. It has a flap right here, so you can tuck the flap in. And then I have just a piece of inexpensive white cardstock that I cut to the size to go into the pocket. It just helps to give the pocket some stability. And then I just put the stamp set into the pocket. It also helps to show the stamp set off because the white background allows this to be more easily seen. So that white cardstock serves 2 purposes. It gives stability to the pocket, and it also allows me to more easily see what is in there. Okay, so this is a smaller stamp set that I have, and then I have a larger one here, and you can see that it works pretty well. If I have the original packaging, sometimes I'll cut that off and put it on the back. If I have the dies, I'll store the dies onto the back of the pocket. And so that is currently how I had it. And then I would just put the name, the manufacturer, and then the name of the stamps. So if I have a larger stamp set, then it goes into this size pocket. And this comes from, I think this is from Hobby Lobby. It's intended to go into a binder. It has these 3 holes here on the side, right here. But because I'm just using it without the binding rings, it makes it to where you can fit even bigger stamps in there. And I believe this is from, I think the name of the brand that this is the Paper Studio. It's a Hobby Lobby brand. And it coordinates with the black 3-ring binders. I'm not using the binders, I just use the pockets like this. Okay, so I have different size stamps stored in different size pockets. And then for the Stampin' Up! Stamps, they come in these cases, and this really takes up a lot of space. These are bigger stamps because they're foam mounted, so they are a little bit chunkier than the clear stamps. But still, the case itself takes up a lot of room. And then the other stamps that I have are close to my heart. Close to my heart comes in these plastic pouches with the snaps. Some of them have snaps, some of them just have a place where you can tuck it under. But this actually takes up a lot of room as well. So I wanted to try to figure out a way that I could store all of these stamps in the same way so that I could store them in a different way, not by manufacturer. Okay, so I went over to YouTube and I watched a bunch of YouTube videos on how other people store and organize their stamps. That's always what I do whenever I start a new organization project or where I'm trying to reorganize something. And I found a video from my friend Lauren over at 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗄𝐽. She was sharing how she stored her stamps. And I got a lot of really good ideas from watching her video. And so I wanted to share a couple of things with you guys that she shared. One was this, it's a job ticket pocket. It's a really heavy plastic. I love this job ticket pocket. They do come in different sizes, and I probably could have just bought a larger size, because what I figured out after I got these was that I really wanted something where I could put all of my stamps, even the bigger ones, ones like this. And there's no way that this pocket's going to fit. So I do think though that they did have larger pockets, but the problem with this particular one is that it's pretty pricey. So I was thinking about whether I was willing to invest the money to use these pockets for all of my stamps, and I have a lot of stamps. I decided I wasn't. So, and part of that was because it wasn't just the pocket that I was going to be buying, it was also these dry erase sheets. And this was something else that Lauren shared in her video. And this is really cool because it allows you to put your stamps right onto this and then to put this into the pocket, and it's awesome. So I'm going to show y'all a couple of examples here. So this is one of the dry erase cards here, and you can see that it just, the stamps just cling to that. They're also kind of water, I don't know if they're really 100% waterproof, but if you got something on there, they're wipeable. And it's double-sided, so you can put stamps on both sides. So it's really awesome. And so then I got to thinking about how do I do this and not spend as much money. So I went over to Amazon and I started searching for different types of pockets and job ticket holders, and I found these job ticket holders that were they're not as sturdy as the ones that Lauren was using. It does have just a simple hole up here. They're not double stitched, but they are clear. They have a similar feel to the ones that Lauren was using, but they're so much less expensive. And so I decided to go with this size. It's a 6x9 job ticket holder, and I'll put links to where you can find these products in the description below. They're available on Amazon. And so they do have the, I think that it was only this one size. So the only size that they had was the 6x9 job ticket holders. They also do have another company that makes 8.5x11 job ticket holders, and I have some of those as well. I'll put a link to where you can find those. I thought if I had, there might possibly be some stamps that I have that will not fit in this pocket, and either I'm going to have to cut them apart or maybe possibly put them into an 8.5x11. So when I get to that point, I'll see how many of those I have that don't fit. I think mostly 99% of all my stamps are going to fit this size, and that's what I'm hoping. Now for the smaller stamp sets, instead of wasting, you know, and putting a really small stamp set in here, my plan is to, let me see if I can find one here and I'll show you what I'm planning to do, so that it also can save a little bit of money. So a lot of my stamp sets are smaller, and I think that they will fit 2 into one of these job ticket holders, and that's going to save on the number of job ticket holders that I have to purchase. And so I don't mind having 2 stamp sets in the same pocket. So you can see here I have 2 background stamps, and I'll just mention this briefly. I am planning to organize my stamp sets by category, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that a little bit later in this video. Okay, so here's another example. I have these 2 stamp sets. They fit perfectly in there together. These are both sentiment stamp sets. So that's one of the categories that I'm planning to put my stamps in. Okay, here's another one. I considered this to kind of be more of a mixed media vibe. So I'm planning to have a category called mixed media. And here's 2 stamp sets together again. Okay, here is 2 dog stamp sets. And then here are 2 more dog stamp sets. I have a lot of pictures of my dogs, and so I have quite a few stamp sets with dogs. Okay, so that's how I'm planning to do this. Now, I also decided to change the bin that I was using. So let me show y'all one of the bins here. I also picked up the bin from Amazon. It comes in, I think it was a set of 6 bins. I can't remember. I'll put it up here on the screen so you can see the exact measurement and size of the bins. But you can see that these bins fit this particular job ticket holder perfectly. And not only can you put it sideways like this, if you wanted to, you could flip it this way, and you could fit even more stamp sets in this one container. Okay, and I did think about storing it this way, but one of the reasons why I decided to go sideways was because I could more easily see the stamp sets where I had multiple stamp sets in one job ticket holder, and also because my shelf, I wanted to put the shelves closer together, and so this height didn't really work for me. So I decided that I wanted to do it this way. Also, I don't want to make these containers too heavy, and so I decided just to go with storing them in this direction. But if you did want to store them the other way, this container would work for that as well. Okay, so I shared the different things that I'm going to use to create my stamp storage. So let's go ahead and just put together a couple of these job ticket holders, and we'll convert some of the stamps from my other storage into the new storage, so you can kind of see how that process is going to work. And I also want to talk a little bit more about organizing, how I'm going to organize them, and also how I'm going to label them. So let me go ahead and move this bin out of my way. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is to cut down our dry erase card to fit into our job ticket holder. And this is a 6x9 ticket holder, but it does have this part up here at the top that is really not part of the pocket. The pocket starts right here, and it has this little hole. But I did think about cutting this off and then maybe punching like a half circle as a thumb notch. But instead, I just decided to make the card go all the way to the edge. That way I can have something to grab hold of when I'm pulling this in and out. And so I think that works out really well. And then too, depending on where I decide to put the labels, I could potentially use this as a place to put a label, or I could put the label up here. I haven't decided that yet. But if I do decide to put the label on the side, I have a place for that to go. Okay, so the measurements that we're going to cut this down to is 6 by 9 3/4. So let me just go ahead and take one of these cards, and we are going to start off by cutting this down from 8 to 6 inches. And then we're just going to cut a little bit off. This is 10 inches, so we're just going to cut like 1/4 inch. So 9 3/4. So we end up with this card plus this extra piece left over, and then this little piece, I'm going to throw this away. One of the things I decided to try to do after I started this process was to create some extra cards out of the leftovers, out of these scraps. And I took some heavy duty cardstock, and I just took the cardstock, cut it to the same size as the card here, and then I just adhered 3 strips, and it created another card. So for every 3 cards, I can take these extra strips and create another card. And it works out really well. You know, it works just as well as having the full sheet. The only difference is that you have these lines here where you can see how I joined this together. And I did use a piece of cardstock. So, but otherwise I would have just been throwing those scraps away. The only other disadvantage is with the full sheet, I have this dry erase texture on both sides, so I could potentially put stamps on both sides. With this one, it's only a dry erase on one side, the other side is cardstock. Okay, so, but it does use up the scraps. So I thought I would give that a try, and I just used some adhesive I had laying around I was trying to get rid of. It was some rolls of double-sided sticky tape. And so I just decided to give that a try, and I made a bunch of these actually, and I think it works out really well. Okay, so after we get this cut down, the next step is going to be to round the corners. And the reason why I decided to do this is because this is plastic, and as you're taking this card in and out of the plastic, if you have these sharp corners, it could potentially split the plastic. So we're going to just take a punch and go around. This is a 1/4 inch quarter round punch, and we'll just do all 4 corners like that. Okay, all right, so once we have that, we can go ahead and just put this card into the pocket, and you'll notice that these pockets are a little wrinkled, and I think it was just the way it was stored when they were shipped to me, because some of them were perfectly flat and then some of these are wrinkled. But after you put this in the card into the pocket and put the stamps there, over time this kind of flattens out. So I'm not too worried too much about it being wrinkled at this point, because eventually it's going to look like these, where it's perfectly flat. Okay, so if I was not filming this video, I would go ahead and just do a whole bunch of these cards all at the same time. And I would just sit down and do like 20 or 40 or however many packs I have of these dry erase index cards. One of the things I decided to do was I put this on on Amazon. You can do something called a subscribe and save. And when I did the subscribe and save, I'm saving $1 for every pack of these. So I decided to just buy them like once every couple of months. And because I don't really need all of them at one time, I can just work on this project over the next, year. When I get enough of these, I can just cancel that subscribe and save order. But it's going to save me a little money in the long run, because I'll have saved $1 for every pack of these that I buy. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple of these sentiment stamps and we're going to add them onto this card. And what I like to do is to just go ahead and take the stamp set out. We're going to peel this back off and throw that away, because we're not going to need it anymore. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put this down on one side of this card, and then we're going to press down on it to make sure it stays. Some of the stamps are more sticky and some of them are not. So it just depends on the stamp set. I think sometimes the cheaper stamps don't stick as well to the dry erase cards, and that can be a little bit frustrating. But for the most part, I've only found, I think, 1 or 2 sets so far that won't stay attached. And I think that's probably pretty bad, because if it's not staying attached to this dry erase card, then when I go to use them with the Stampin' Block or with the platform, it's probably going to fall off of that too. All right, so this other stamp set, we're going to take this one out and peel the back off. And this one's a little bit stickier. And this one is also taped together, so I'm just going to peel this off. You could also just use scissors and cut this apart, or use the paper trimmer. But I'm just going to peel that back. It was just stuck on there with tape. And then we're going to throw that away. Okay, and then I'm going to take this one and put it over here. Now, I've had some where the plastic is just a little bit too big to fit onto my card. And as long as it's not going into the stamp, I just take my paper trimmer and just trim the plastic off so that it fits onto the card. But these two actually fit really well on there. And you can see that I can store both of these onto one card. And then I'm going to take these other pieces here, and I'm going to save this because I want the information from here so that I can eventually add it into my inventory and make labels. And so this one is called A Thankful Heart. And then this one is Spellbinders. It doesn't say on there which Spellbinders one it is. But I can just do a image search on Google and potentially find it, or go back and look at the order that I made to buy that. Okay, so here we go. We're going to put this back into the pocket. So I do plan in the future to create some videos and talk a little bit about creating inventories or catalogs of the different supplies that we have in our craft rooms. And I do want to do an inventory of my stamps. So I want to keep all the information about the manufacturer and name of the stamps so that I can go back later and put that into my inventory system. I can also use that information to create labels. And so I do want to make sure to do that. Now, I used to create the label. I had some paper labels, and I used to use my computer, and I created these labels right here. And one of the things that I found is if I can take this label off here, and I can stick it onto this card, but if I stick it onto the card, I can't remove it. If I try to remove it, it leaves a residue there, and I'll have to get Goo Gone to take it off. So I'm planning to not use these types of labels in the future. I'm going to use a label maker, which has a laminated sticker, which will come off of the plastic here. So I did recently get a new label maker. I think it was probably about 6 months ago. The label maker that I had a 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗀 label maker, and it was probably at least 15 years old, because I had it when I lived in my house in Texas. And I love the 𝗬𝗽𝗲𝗍 label makers. And when my label maker broke, I was really sad because I had that one for so long and I knew how to use it and it was just awesome. But it finally died, so I got a new one, and I'll just show you the new label maker that I have here. I definitely recommend this. I purchased it from Amazon. It was a little bit expensive for a label maker, but I think it was well worth the money. I invested in this because it has some really unique features. One feature is that it has a power cord, so you don't have to just depend on batteries, because with my old label maker, one of the most frustrating things was that I would go to use it and it wouldn't have enough battery power, and it required 8 AA batteries, or maybe more. I don't know, it was a lot of batteries. And so I was always running around the house trying to find batteries every time I wanted to use a label maker. So I really love that this one has a power cord. In fact, I don't even have batteries in this, although you can add the batteries here. I didn't ever put batteries in it. I just plug it in. But if you wanted to use it with just batteries, you can. Okay, so the next thing that I really love about this label maker is that it has Bluetooth. So you can connect to the label maker using your phone or your computer. And so that's really awesome because you can enter the information in using the phone or the computer and then just print it out. And because I'm eventually going to be doing an inventory or catalog of all my stamps, I want to actually type that into the computer anyway. So as I'm doing that, and I already have that information typed in, I can easily just create a label and not have to type it on this little keyboard. However, if I did want to just do a label and not get my computer out, I could create a label using this machine. And so it works both ways. You can use it with the computer, or you can use it just with the machine itself. And so the third thing that sold me on this label maker is that it comes with free software, and you can, I don't know if I think it does have some software available for the phone as well, which I haven't used that. But the one for the computer, I have to say, is really awesome. So you can create your labels on the computer and design the label and see how it's going to look before you even print it out. And it's really a lot of fun. And then you can also save those labels. So if I decide that I want a label that looks a certain way for my stamp storage, every time I go to create a new label, I can make it look exactly the same. One of the things that I used to get so frustrated with the old label maker is I would make a label, and then a couple months later I would want to make another label to match that label, and I couldn't figure out what font it was or what size font it was or the settings. And I would just use up tape trying to figure out how to make it look the same. So this label maker is awesome. So it's called the P-Touch 𝗬𝗽𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, and I'll put a link to where you can find this on Amazon. I think at the time that I purchased this, it was around $90, a little under $100. It might be more than that now, but I think it's really an awesome label maker. And if you're going to be making tons of labels and you're going to be doing an inventory system, it'll save you a lot of time because you can just copy and paste into the software and just have it, make the label for you. Okay, and so let me show you also, it also accepts a lot of different types of labels, different sizes of labels. So I have this is some of the label tape I have. And I do buy just generic label tape from Amazon, so it's fairly inexpensive. And I even found gold tape. So I have gold tape with black letters. We have clear tape with gold ink. And then here is a black tape with gold ink. Just kind of, I bought this because I wanted to kind of play around with it. I actually have gold as an accent in my craft room now, so I even have like a gold stapler. And I have a gold tape dispenser, which I got just recently. So just some fun accents for my craft room that I have. And I just decided that it would be fun to be able to put labels on some of the things in my craft room using gold. And so, but most of the labels that I have are white and black, or they're either white and black or clear and black. And they come in all different sizes. So we have, this is like a 0.35 inch. There is also this one here that is almost an inch. And then I have let's see, this one is, this one is a quarter, it's close to a ½ inch, so it's 0.47 inches. So they come in all different sizes. And this one, I guess I started printing something out and didn't finish feeding it through, but you can see this is an inch label. And I did this special label for my, out in my garage, I have some little drawers with different types of hardware. And so I created labels for that. So I don't just use this in my craft room, I use it all over my house. But it's really easy to change out the tape. You just open this up and you can just take this tape out. If I can get my hand in there. And then just load it back in. You can put all the different colors and sizes in there. There's tons and tons of different colors too. They also have lots of other colors. I think they have pink and green and other colors like that. I've never actually purchased those or tried them, but it would be fun if you had a certain color in your craft room to be able to match your labels. So here are some of the labels that I created using the software, and I have to say that they have some really cool designs that you can actually just pull in to the software. You just add the words and it already has everything there. All the formatting and everything is there for you. So it makes it really easy to create labels, just going with the ones that are pre-formatted. And this was a design that I really liked. So I've been using this design where it has a white section over here and then a black section, so like 2 sections. And I was going through making labels for all different kinds of things. So just kind of fun. Another thing that you can do is make labels to go onto cords. So this is a label that repeats, and then you wrap it around the cord and you do like this. I'm planning to put this onto a power cord so that I know what the power cord goes to. And it's one of my goals that I eventually want to have all of the cords labeled, because it's nothing worse than losing your power cord and not knowing which one goes to what. Okay. All right, so okay, so I'll probably be working on this project for some time because I have tons of stamps that I want to transfer over into this new system. Plus I need to do all of the labels and also make divider tabs. So you'll probably see this organization project pop up again in the future in one of my videos. And I will share with you my progress, and also share with you any tips or learnings that I have along the way to help you if you're trying to do something similar. And one of the things, I did make a list of categories that I was planning to use for my stamps, and I'll put that list up here on the screen. So my plan is to use these categories, and then I associated 1 or 2 letters with each category. And then for my labels, I'm going to number them within the category. I did think about just adding a number to each one of the cards and just having a number system. But if I do that, it's just going to be numbered 1 through whatever, and there's not going to be any organization at all. And even though I did something like that for my paper pads, I don't think it would work as well for the stamps, because the stamps, I want to be able to, I can flip through them. The paper pads are really hard to pull out. So I'm always probably going to go to my reference books to look at my paper pads. With the stamps, I would either go to my inventory that I have on the computer, or in this program, new program they're going to use, �colorMyLife, or I would go to the bin and just flip through the bin. So I think I'm going to use categories and a combination of categories and numbers. So I thought of these different categories, and then I'm going to keep track of the number. So for instance, this is sentiments, so this card will be numbered S1, or whatever letter I decide to use for sentiments. And then I'll just have, keep track of the number. So the next time I have a card for sentiments, I'll number that one too, and so on. And so each category will have its own numbering system. And as I add in new stamps to each category, I'll just increase the number by 1. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to keep track of the categories and also the last number that I used. And I'm thinking about having maybe just like a little notebook, and just keep track of it that way. As I'm working on the organization and I'm numbering and labeling everything, I can just know what the next number is going to be. And the reason why I wanted to use numbers was because It's a really good way to just quickly be able to go and find something and put it away. I love using the numbers from my paper pads and I think organizing the stamps that way would work really well. So if I was looking through my catalog online, the digital inventory, I could look for a stamp set and I could see, oh, this one is S12. I know exactly that's sentiments card number 12. I would be able to quickly go and find it. And then also when it's time to put that stamp set away, I know exactly where to put that back. And so I could see some of these categories having a really large number of stamps. So if I had 50 stamps in one category and I wanted a stamp set and I didn't have them numbered, I would have to be flipping through all 50 stamp sets to find the one that I want. And so I think adding the number, at least for me, I think it's going to work really well. So I think when you're trying to figure out how to organize something in your craft room, it's really good to think about your thought process and your workflow as you're working on a project. How are you going to go and get those supplies? And then what are you going to do with those supplies after you finish your project? How are you going to put that away? And if you can kind of think through those steps, it will help you to come up with the right solution for how you should organize something in your craft room. And so I don't think you have to use the same organization for each type of item in your craft room. And for me, I'm using numbers for my paper pads, my 12 by 12 paper pads. I'm going to use a combination of letters and numbers for these stamps. For my collections, I'm storing them by manufacturer and the name of the collection, because that is how I would look for that if I was looking for it in my craft room. So anyway, I think that's pretty much all I have to share for this video. I really hope that I gave y'all some inspiration and some ideas for how you can organize your stamps. And that's really all I have. So y'all be sure and go check out everyone else's videos that is participating in this month's hop. And hope you guys have an awesome weekend. And we hope to see you next time. Bye now.
Hey, Miss Bella, what you doing? She's trying to cover up her breakfast. This is what she does if she doesn't like what I gave her to eat. You're too funny. She's trying really hard. She wants to cover that up. You're a mess, dog. Oh, you're too funny. She's been doing this ever since she was a puppy. I remember one time we fed her a dog food that had fish in it, like salmon or something, and man, she did not like that at all. And that was the first time I ever saw her cover up her food, and she was only like maybe a couple months old. And now she's almost 14 and she's still doing it. Miss Bella, did you not like your food? Miss Bella, what are you doing? Miss Bella, where are you going? Where are you going? Oh, I guess she gave up. Miss Bella, did you not like your breakfast? Do you have anything you'd like to say? No, now she's gonna put her back to me. You are too funny, dog. Okay, I guess she's going to be upset with me now because I didn't give her a good breakfast.